The conversation that changed my marriage never happened. That is the part that is hardest to say out loud. Not that we had a terrible fight, or that one of us said something unforgivable, or that we went through a crisis that nearly broke us. My story is about all the years I stayed quiet when I should have spoken, all the things I swallowed instead of said, all the mornings I woke up next to Harold and chose silence over truth because the truth felt too risky. I'm 92 years old. Harold has been gone for 30 years, and the conversation I never had with him is still the one I think about most. I want to tell you what that silence cost me, and what it might be costing you right now. Harold and I met in 1946. He was 22 years old and just back from a war. I was 19. We were married within the year, because that is what people did then, and because I loved him in a way you love someone when you are 19, and the world has just survived something enormous. We had 47 years together, 3 children, a house that became a home, a life that looked from the outside exactly like what a life was supposed to look like. But there was something between us that we never talked about, a distance that had been there since almost the beginning. Not hostility, not indifference, just a careful, polite, sustained avoidance of the deeper things. Harold was a man of his generation. He had been to war. He came home and built a life and provided for his family, and he was, by every measure, a good man and a good husband. But he was not available in the way I needed him to be available, and I never told him. Not once in 47 years did I say, I need more from you than you're giving me. I need you to ask me how I feel and mean it. I need us to be closer than we are. I never said any of it. Instead, I convinced myself it was enough, that this was simply what marriage was, that needing more was somehow ungrateful or selfish. I was wrong on all 3 counts. The year Harold turned 65, he was diagnosed with a heart condition. He changed his diet. He slowed down. He spent more time at home. And something unexpected happened. In those slower, quieter days, Harold began to open up in ways he never had before. A memory from the war he mentioned at dinner. A fear about getting older he admitted one evening on the porch. A question he asked me one morning that stopped me completely. Margaret, have you been happy? I didn't answer him honestly. I said, yes, of course, we've had a wonderful life. But there was another part that needed to say something more complicated, something about longing and distance and the years of careful silence. And I couldn't find the words fast enough, or the courage. So I said yes, and Harold nodded, and the moment passed. He died 8 years later, and that unanswered question stayed with me long after everything else faded, because what I understood too late was that Harold had been trying. In his way, with the limited emotional vocabulary of a man who had never been taught another one, he had been reaching across the distance. And I had smiled and said yes and let the moment close. Silence in a marriage is never neutral. Every time you choose not to say the thing that needs to be said, you're making a deposit into an account of distance. And those deposits accumulate over years and decades until the distance feels so normal that you forget it was ever a choice. It was always a choice. The conversation that changes a marriage is rarely a dramatic one. It is saying, I miss you even though we are in the same room. It is saying, I don't think you know how much I need you. It is saying, I want more than this, and I think you do too. It is the conversation that feels too risky to have. That is exactly the one you need to have. Here's what I want you to do. The first thing. Think about the thing you've been meaning to say to the person you love most. Not the practical things. The real thing. The thing underneath all of that. The thing you go to sleep thinking about and wake up not saying. Write it down if you have to. Find the words for it. Because it has words. Everything does. You just have to be brave enough to look for them. The second thing, understand that the risk of saying it is nothing compared to the risk of not saying it. The distance you're maintaining to feel safe is already changing things. It has been changing things for years. The only question is whether you're going to let it continue or choose something different. The third thing, do not wait for the right moment. The right moment is this evening, this weekend, this month. Not when things calm down, not when the children are older, not when work is less demanding. Harold asked me if I had been happy, and I let the moment pass because I was not ready. I had 47 years to get ready. It was not enough. If Harold were here today, I know exactly what I would say to him. I would tell him that yes, I was happy, and I would mean it. But I would also tell him that I was lonely sometimes in ways I didn't know how to explain, that I wanted him to know me more completely than I allowed him to, that some of the distance between us was mine, not just his. I would tell him that the question he asked me on the porch that afternoon was the bravest thing he ever said to me, and I was not brave enough to meet it. I would tell him I am sorry for that, and then I would ask him the same question back. Harold, have you been happy? Harold asked me if I had been happy. I said yes and let the moment pass. Don't let your moment pass.